Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at the 18th Manga Jiman Awards ceremony. We are excited to celebrate great comic art and storytelling and hope you enjoy the event. My name is Katsu and I was created by Camille Witcher. Before we begin, I would like to remind everybody currently inside the embassy that photography is not allowed for security reasons, and please make sure all mobile devices are switched off. To open the awards ceremony, please join me in welcoming Minister Yasuyuki Okazaki to give his remarks.
Thank you very much for joining this 18th Manga Jiman Competition Award ceremony. We are very delighted to have you again. And actually this year, we had even more entrants compared to the previous years. Last year, we had 50 plus entrants. That made me actually very busy because we judge, not simply read them, but after reading them, analyze it, and discuss among the judges. And so often the opinions among the judges are not necessarily consonant, but so we have a very friendly but passionate discussion among the judges. But it's also a part of the entertainment for the judges. And this year we had more than 80. Thank you very much for applying for this competition. And okay, this is a prize for the applause. So we had even more exciting and pleasant discussion among the judges. Of course, it was a very difficult discussion, but I would like to extend my heartfelt, sincere gratitude to Ilya-san, Maya-san, and today, unfortunately, Paul and Kubo Kiriko sensei, they are absent, but I would like to extend my heartfelt, sincere gratitude to all my colleague judges. And everybody, of course, my thanks goes to the all entrants who sent their artwork for those who successfully shortlisted today here, or not successfully this year, but invested a lot your energy to this competition. Well, of course, this year's theme, spirit, has a multiple meaning. So we are quite looking for it. We are quite looking forward to see how all entrants interpret that theme and transfer their idea into the real world. And they made a great job. And their interpretation is quite diverse, and their stories are, because of that, the stories are very original. So we are really enjoying their reading. And of course, the theme and the concept are so diverse, so it is very difficult again for us to compare them. So, telling the truth, we couldn't make a decision. We wouldn't like to make a decision or rank those works, but that was their obligation of us. So we did that somehow. Well, and as you know, that today's this year's theme, spirit, is very closely associated with the Studio Ghibli's theater play, which ran last year, Spirited Away. And probably many of you went to the program and enjoy watching that theater, hopefully. And I'd like to inform that with a great pleasure, that theater, Spirited Away, is now being nominated in the Olivier Award. The result will be announced in April. So if today's this ceremony goes very well with the strong passion and excitement, maybe the result would be favorable for Japanese anime and manga. All right? Well, I'd like to introduce a couple of the entertainment that awaiting you in this year in London and the UK. As you may know, this October, after 34 years, the Grand Small Tournament is coming back. So we are going to welcoming back the small also in October. Unfortunately, the ticket really fast flew out. So maybe it's no longer available. But maybe we can enjoy through the television or online streaming. And in August and September time, the England is going to host the World Cup, female World Cup rugby. And fortunately, the Japan's national team Sakura 15 is entitled to join the tournament. So we are awaiting our women's female rugby team coming to England this summer. And in July, the Royal Opera House hosts the Japanese National Ballet. And currently, the art director of the National Ballet is very famous, the former principal of Royal Ballet Opera in London, Miyako Yoshida, on the right up the picture. And her company is going to play the Giselle. And in June, we are going to have second version of the UK Ekiden. You may know about the Ekiden, but that is a long distance relay. So there are 10 runners are going to run 10 kilo each. So it makes 100 kilometers. So it's going to be organized in June. And it's a little bit serious, more artistic part, but the British Museum is going to organize the Hiroshige, very large collection of the Utagawa Hiroshige's exhibition, like that. So maybe you are familiar with this, the ukiyo-e, drawing the Nihonbashi Bridge of Nihon. And as you know, from the beginning of the March, My Neighbor Totoro came back to the London in the Gillian Lynn Theatre in the West End. Not this time the Barbican Theatre, but just for the third time we are privileged to have the opportunity to watch the My Neighbor Totoro. But speaking about introducing this entertainment in waiting you in London from Japan, you may feel, oh, this year the Minister Okazaki is delivering the speech very normal way, boring. Don't you think so? Well, but don't worry. I'm wearing Totoro!
Thank you, Minister. Now, what did the other judges think of the entries this year?
Hello, I'm Paul Gravett, and I'm delighted to be part of Manga Jiman yet again on the jury. And I'm sorry I can't be with you for the ceremony tonight, but I'm actually going to be in America having an amazing time opening a huge exhibition in Seattle of Asian comics at the Museum of Popular Culture on for 10 months. That's coming up. And also in New York for a big cartoon festival, comics festival called MoCA. Anyway, so this year's entries for Manga Jiman were very, very interesting. We had some great response. I mean, actually, the theme was very popular. Spirit, of course, has many meanings, including the supernatural, which many people went for, but also other more subtle and ethereal ideas too. It was a very good year, and some impressive first timers. I mean, as well as returning artists, has to be said. But this is exciting. We've got a generation and another generation, more people getting involved in this incredible art form. So very impressive, and we've found some fantastic winners, as you will see this evening. So thank you very much, and I'm very glad to see Manga Jiman flourishing as it charges forward.
This year, the Japanese embassy did a survey about Manga Jiman. The number of submissions for Manga Jiman and for the 4-panel comics have increased compared to last year. And it is wonderful to see more first-time applicants and to see lots of young people sending in submissions. In this survey of Manga Jiman, what stood out to me the most was the main reason for entering this competition. to challenge myself, which was the top reason at 63.6%. I think submitting works to such competitions takes great courage. I remember the hesitation, anxiety, and excitement I felt when I first sent my work to a publisher. Samuel Beckett once wrote the following words, which I like to keep in mind. Try again, fail better. I always keep this fail better in my heart, and I would like to share it with everyone. Please do not fear failure and keep challenging yourselves. I look forward to reading your submissions again next year. I'm proud of the courage shown by everyone who submitted this time. Thank you very much.
What Kiriko-san just said, because that's exactly what I wanted to say. But I just also wanted to say it's so nice to be here this evening to celebrate with you in person, to celebrate your extraordinary achievements in being a part of this competition. It's such an honor to read your stories before anyone else in the world. And as Kiriko-san just said, we really appreciate it's not easy to share something you've worked so hard on, something that's so close to your heart. So a huge congratulations to everyone who participated. The fact that you participated is in itself amazing. And you're all winners for having done it. And I mean this because I know how hard it is to share something you've created yourselves. And I'm repeating myself, but that's so close to your heart. We can't wait to see what you do next with your talent, and we hope that you continue to pursue your interest in manga. So that's my general, my overall comments. I know you're gonna have a few more specific comments. Well, then I can also add that there were some great stories, really unusual techniques. Actually, I've never seen quite a few of them. So pushing some boundaries there technically, but also amazing imagination. We always have a lot of amazing amazing entrants with amazing imaginations, but I think this year was extraordinary, and yeah, great numbers. Keep it coming. Thank you so much again.
In the top 10, statistically, we had 6 first-time entrants, which we're always pleased to see because it means the word is getting out and people are having a go who never thought in 18 years, to try for it. The other 4 in the top 10 are old legs we've seen before, but we welcome them back too. 6 of the top 10. Okay, these days. Yes, I can't say that. Some identify one way or the other, but we have the proper mixture of male, female, and where they choose to be in between. And the youngest is just 15, and the oldest is 68, with an on top 10. Now, the word that adds up to diversity. And of course that's becoming an unpopular concept in other parts of the world. But I think we are proud to be that diverse in terms of age, gender, sexuality, whatever. And it's inclusive, and it's, what's the other one? Shout it out at me. Equity, I think it's equity. So yeah, all those things we applaud. And I think we're one of those great standing examples of that, and we have been all this time. It's reality, and this is a reflection of reality. So we're very glad about that. The other motivations, aside from to challenge myself, was to get noticed for their work, and of course we hope this helps towards that. But also to get feedback. So do take advantage of the judges in the room. I hope I can speak for Maya too with that. If you do want to find out what our thoughts were, specific to your work. And some of you may not be in the top 10 but still here. And if you are, well done for turning up, and we extend that welcome to you too in the time we have afterwards. That's it. Yep. Let's get rolling with the top 10 and find out who's playing.
The first prize is Yonkoma Youth, which is sponsored by Manga Originals. Take it away, Dan.
Following a business trip, a young woman makes the long journey home. Upon arrival, something seems off. An ominous feeling fills the air. What could be its cause? An ill omen? A malevolent spirit, perhaps? The reality is far worse than you could ever imagine. The mother-in-law. Good evening everyone, I'm Daniel Byron from mangaoriginals.co.uk and once again I'm here to present the prize for the Yonkoma Youth category of the Manga Jiman competition. And here it is, an absolutely beautiful page from Kanin no Toki by shoujo legend Chikai Ide. Congratulations to our lucky winner.
The winner of Yonkoma Youth is Nyah Angol-Barcelos. Congratulations, Nyah.
My name is Nyah Angol-Barcelos, and the title of my entry is How to Feed a Headless Spirit. I first became interested in manga whilst I was experimenting with new ideas for drawing, and from there I started to research the history of this amazing art style in further depth. When I first found out the theme for this year was spirit, my mind instantly brought up an episode from the amazing world of Gumball. My story is about a spirit who has no head and no way of eating, but has friends who tend to eat a lot. Nature, colours, patterns, textiles, and things that I find fascinating, though also inspires me to be creative, along with many other artists who teach me new things. I do particularly enjoy how Japanese art is very vibrant and significantly important to many people. When I am older, I would love to be a sustainable fashion designer, a painter, or a comic artist.
Nyah also receives a print of her own work from Aizen.
In her notes, the story she referenced her fondness for Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away, and partly that's what attracted her to it. It's not a direct reference. It's got an almost googly eye style, as we call it in the trade. Packs plenty in, so much that it bursts from the panel borders in some instances, and ends with a simple, appropriate sight gag. It's a slam dunk, and it is. I really hope you get to realise your ambitions, Nyah. Great work.
Next up is Yonkoma 14+, which is sponsored by Japanese Gallery Kensington. Take it away, Eddie. The winner of the Yonkoma 14
Black Butler was first released in 2006, telling the story of a young boy in the Victorian era who, in a moment of desperation, makes a pact with a demon. Written by Yana Toboso, the series is known for its gothic art style and breathtaking two-page spreads. Over the last 19 years, Yana's growth as an artist can also be seen in the manga. Her style has changed and become even more elaborate and detailed with time. With a 5th anime season releasing later this year, Black Butler has stood the test of time as one of the most beloved manga of the 21st century.
The winner of the Yonkoma 14+ is Gemma Myerscough.
My name is Gemma Myerscough and I did Little Cat Big Jump. I've always watched anime from a very young age, and then I didn't get into manga until I was a little older. But I've always been very just interested in picture books. It kind of just came to me as a spur of the moment after doing the first competition that I did, which was the 8-page one. So this was kind of like an afterthought, really. In the panel, when the cat jumps, it's implied that they turn into a ghost because they go from a black cat to a white cat, and they stop mid-jump.
Gemma also receives a print of her own work from Aizen.
With Yonkoma, there is more to the format than meets meets the eye. And I won't go into it now, you can read about that on the website for Manga Jiman. But this entry conforms to that, with the switch between the third and the fourth panel, and a reveal, as it were, at the end. Only my glasses, excuse me a sec. This is what happens when you draw every day for 61 years. So stripped back colour was one of the things I noted about it. A muted palette, as we say in the trade. Simplicity, clarity, a ridiculousness that rewards with a smile. And it's a la Looney Tunes, Merry Melodies of the Warner Brothers cartoons. I think something like Roadrunner, I think that was what it brought to mind as well. And a light touch when it comes to the unseen death, the implication. And of course, this is the theme of spirit. Well done, Gemma. Well done, Gemma.
And now we move on to the top 10 of Manga Jiman. In 10th place, receiving a t-shirt, book from Fanfare, Alex Stefanis. Alex Stefanis.
My name is Alex Stefanis Pons, and the title of the entry is The Book of Noctua. So the story is about the spirit that is sealed within the pages of the comic book. I got the idea by sort of talking about it with a friend. They sort of suggested that it could be like something where the comic book itself was haunted, and I really liked that, so I scrapped whatever I'd done by that point and went with that. So I tried to figure out how I could make that work. I think the most difficult part was basically I kind of rushed the storyboarding a bit. Then that caused me to, and went into sketching too soon, I think. So that caused me to basically not really like the sketch, and we have to redo it a bunch of times, which ended up being a bit frustrating, but I'm happy I did redo it because I prefer how it turned out now.
In 9th place, winning goodies from Fanfare, Lucia Fioretti.
My name is Lucia Fioretti, and the title of my entry is Kitsunetsuki. I like to challenge myself to try to create a story that can be compelling and interesting, even if you have a short amounts of pages. When I saw the theme for this year, that it was spirit, I was like, okay, I really need to do something with the kitsune spirit, because I've always been fascinated by Japanese yokai. So ever since I got to learn about them, the kitsune spirit has always been my favorite. So I was really thinking that it would be cool to link the kitsune spirit with the foxes that you usually see in London, because I'm London based. And you can see a lot of foxes around London every time. I mean, even in, very central streets. So I was like, yeah, maybe there is a connection between the London urban foxes and the kitsune spirit. Maybe they are going around the city and just trying to find humans that can be suitable for being kitsune's hosts. So maybe they're trying to expand their influence from an island in the east, that is Japan, to an island in the west, that is the UK. So that's how the story came about.
The artist, chosen in 8th place, receives a t-shirt and books from Fanfare. And that is Neil Rimmer.
Hi, I'm Neil, and my manga is called Familiar. So I started looking into folklore, and specifically I was quite captivated by stories of guardian spirits, that spirit that's meant to guide you as from a young age onwards in witchcraft and so on. spent my life doing a career in science, but I always wanted to do art. And luckily, when doing a PhD, that's where I got to also. I did get to integrate the artistic side of it when creating images and illustrations. It's just putting yourself out there, especially when it's something you're so like a novice to. It's intimidating. I'm dyslexic, so like when it comes to storyboarding and writing stories, I'm like grammatical errors. I find that's like the biggest challenge for me. But like that's why I love manga and comic books is you don't have to say the 1,000 words. I can draw it instead.
Next up, 7th. Winning a box of sweets from Minamoto Kitchoan, as well as 2 tickets and a t-shirt from Regent St Cinema, Jenkins.
My name is Keith Jenkins, and the title of the entry is The Visionary Life of Mavis Ming. About 12 years ago, I saw a flyer for the competition online while I was looking for Japanese films at the embassy, and I thought I'd have a go, basically, and that's how it started. Try to do something better each year because the entries are so good. Well, the main character has a life alone. It looks at life through an optimism enhanced by her imagination and the hallucinations on a daily basis, without concern of what others may think of her. I enjoyed thinking of ways to incorporate the visions and hallucinations of the main character into a backdrop, which is largely based on Hackney. The story evolved as I was working through the panels. The main difficulty was creating a narrative flow between each episode.
In 6th, receiving gift vouchers from Japan Center and sweets from Minamoto Kitchoan. In 6th, we have Hayley Jennings.
I'm Hayley Jennings, and the title of my entry is Ethel. I kind of started by making a mind map to explore the avenues of spirit, such as alcohol or being in high spirits, but ultimately I started pursuing the theme of ghosts and the paranormal. And the more I pursued it, the more I just felt really comfortable with taking a story in that particular direction. When I was at school, when you hear a lot of ghost stories as a kid, and certain ones just particularly stick with you, and for me it was the story of a ghost kind of trapped in mirrors. And I'm a bit hazy on the details, but that story stuck with me since I was about, say, 8 years old. So to finally take that story and kind of give it my own personal context by expanding, say, the lore behind it, it just felt really nice to take something from so long ago and give it a new life, so to speak. This is the first time I've ever tried anything kind of even slightly horror related. I'm not really a horror person. I really like to push myself each time I enter the contest, like try something completely new that I've never done before. So in this case, having something set with a strong nighttime theme with very strong light sources with a kind of spooky atmosphere was something that is really out of my comfort zone, but it was really good to like kind of get that experience working on it.
Into the top 5 we go. Winning an air purifier from Daikin and a 1-year membership from the Regent St Cinema. In 5th, we have Claire Mead.
My name is Claire Mead, and the title of my entry is Spirit of Lost Things. I think I really
was inspired by the idea of animism, with objects was a soul, also the idea of the lares, which is with little household deities, the little insignificant things, everyday life, but that are important. So my partner and my now spouse, we got symbolically married. At some point, I think they called me and they're really devastated because they've lost their ring, and I just say, well, look, I think small creatures borrowed the ring to go on a magical quest, and they're gonna use it, and then they will return it to you once they're done. A few days later, they found the ring. The comic I write and draw is actually in full color, but I specifically wanted to challenge myself to do my first black and white comic. The thing that I found tricky was how do you convey emotion with a limited range of colors. So I had to really push myself to try and kind of play with contrast and make sure that the expressions and every single kind of composition was really thought through so I can convey what I wanted.
In fourth, winning a set of Manga Shakespeare courtesy of SelfMadeHero and a large box of sweets from Minamoto Kitchoan. In fourth, we have Emmanuel Nnanna.
My name is Emmanuel Nnanna, and my entry is Zelda Spirit. I wanted to do something that wasn't too literal, but I did wanted to have like designs that were based on like ideas of like spirits and stuff like that. So I wanted to draw some characters that looked a bit strange. They're basically human, but they have like certain features that I associate with like different animals and different spirits that you get from like different types of folklore from around the world. Something that's a bit more familiar, something that's a bit more recent, like the Northern Lights. So, and I thought that would be a pretty cool idea. It's like sort of related to spirits and the way people used to interpret the Northern Lights in like different cultures around the world. The style I went for was, but I think it's limited color or something like that. I remember I was reading Slam Dunk like a few years ago, and the first few chapters or so of the copy I had, it was done in this limited color style that I used to see a lot more often, where it's like a lot of the shading was done in red, and I always thought that was a really interesting and cool look to it. So I wanted to do something similar but with watercolors. So I just did it. While going through it, I really wanted to stress like how difficult this journey was for Zelda, just particularly because of how long it was for cycling. So it was going to be that whole sequence is going to be quite a bit longer. But I decided to cut down quite a lot of it. I cut down a bit of stuff from the past. I just wanted to keep it, just basically condensing it down was very much the hardest part for me.
Third place. Receiving a digital camera from RICOH UK. In third, we have Riyad Meddour.
My name is Riyad Meddour, and my entry is Flora. I kind of instantly thought of like kind of ghosts and kind of physical spirit creatures, you know. I wanted to mix a humanoid character with something mystical and quite beautiful. I'm quite a fan of kind of stitching weird shapes and things onto human heads and making them characters. And so I decided to like have a flower for it. I chose that because it's quite a mystical, peculiar thing. And you can't really tell what he's feeling. He is quite a strange looking character. Yeah, my idea for him, most of my stories kind of come from ideas that pop up in my mind. And the story kind of stemmed off how he looked. So the character himself is where I started the story. When drawing all of the panels, I did a lot of picture research. I didn't really learn the names of flowers or anything, but I kind of learned a lot about how they looked and how the petals like kind of curl and stuff. I'm not exactly sure which type of flower Flora is. He might be a rose. I think I've changed and improved art style quite a lot, and I've tried to include a lot of contrast between light and dark, and I think I achieved that quite well, especially on page 2 when it's got a big portrait of Flora in the street, and you can see the kind of strong contrast of black and white on his head. And that, I think that strong contrast is like achieved quite a lot in most manga. I've struggled to include it in my art much until recently, so I think that's my favorite part of it.
Riyad also wins the Best Youth Prize again this year, and he receives a print of his own work from Ezen. To tell us more about Riyad's work, here is Paul.
Hello, I'm Paul Gravett, and I'm in New York, and I'm just coming to you to discuss and present some comments about the winner of the third place in this year's Manga Jiman, who is Riyad Meddour, with his story Flora. Riyad actually did extremely well last year, and incredibly, he was 15 last year and came in as the winner of the youth section and in 5th place, which is pretty amazing for a first timer and for a young entrant like this. This year, he's in 3rd place, so he's moving on up, and quite rightly, because his work is very, very good, very sophisticated. Flora is an interesting take. It's not so much supernatural as a kind of a nature spirit, I guess you would say here. And all the way through the comic, he has images of essentially a typical Japanese city. It's partly Tokyo with its oppressive cabling and overdeveloped environment, and contrasting that, of course, with the beauty of flowers. Flora meaning Latin for flower. And the need for us to have that contact with nature in the midst of often a very urban, unnatural, man-made environment. A brilliant opening splash when you turn the page and see the character Flora in his floral shirt. By the way, I'm wearing a floral shirt, especially because of this announcement. But he also has, of course, a head shaped like a flower. Is like, my gosh, where's that come from? I don't know if I've seen that anywhere. Anyway, it's very, very powerful. Now, the pacing is what really works for me here. Riyad knows how to use the language of manga using panel layouts, using large panels, full panels, gradations, and cutaways. Often, as you'll see in the comic, there are the human beings are speaking, but we don't see them. We see their environment, or we see a little detail. It's someone who really understands what manga does well, which is to create ambience and a feeling of actually being with these characters. And the story is very touching. There's a desperate plea from one of the characters to this character, Flora, to say, why can't we have more of this beautiful natural world, the flowers in our city? And I'm not going to give away the ending, but it has a nice, charming ending, which makes perfect sense, and actually, again, completes my opinion that Meddour is already making outstanding work, and I can only see it getting better. And so many congratulations, Riyad. You're rising. Anyway, it's only a couple more stops to get to 1st place, so definitely enter next year. And this is an example of what Manga Jiman can do. It can really nurture and encourage fantastic new talent, and they can come through from their teenage years. How exciting is that?
Second place, sponsored by PFU Ltd, who this year are giving an ultra lightweight portable monitor. Second place goes to Andrew Sparrow.
My name's Andy Sparrow, and my entry is l'esprit de corps. I am a very visually minded person, especially when I was little. Any cartoon in the papers and so on was the first thing that stuck out to me immediately. Before I could read, I was interpreting the cartoons in the back of the newspapers. The idea is to do with delivery riders who work for the apps. It's just so ubiquitous. Everybody I know uses Uber Eats and Deliveroo and so on. So I am subconsciously looking for inspiration the whole time. It's just something that struck me, especially as I am a biker And I used to be a delivery person myself, you know, after I left school. So it always appeals to me, anybody who rides a bike for a living. So I thought it might make a good idea for a story.
So let's hear from Kiriko-san about Andrew's work.
First of all, I'm very sorry that I cannot attend the reception in person this year. I'd like to start by making some comment about the work of the runner-up, Mr. Sparrow. This work is very stylish, with a retro futuristic design. I enjoyed the way it showed us characters' personalities and the situation of those working in the gig economy as pizza delivery drivers. The manga is made up of a series of small episodes, which I found to be unique. This has resulted in a short yet substantial piece. We hear a story about various different characters. I found myself wanting to read Stan's story. He's described as a 68-year-old who is really too old to be doing a pizza delivery job. Manga is about characters and narrative, but also has a strong visual element. The choice of font and progression with almost the same size panels fit this style perfectly. The artwork, character design, and story are all of very high quality. Congratulations, Mr. Sparrow.
And this means that first place in the 18th Manga Jiman Competition, receiving a prize from sponsors Japanese Gallery Kensington. First place goes to Anait Melkonyan.
My name is Anait Melkonyan, and the title of the entry is Moonlit Stories. This is my first ever attempt at doing a graphic novel or a manga or a comic or anything. I mean, I've been drawing for a long time. I work in architecture, so it's just sort of a skill that I have, but I have never tried doing a comic, so this has been interesting. I don't draw people very often. I used to when I was younger, back in school, art classes, drawing people, drawing plants, animals, and stuff like that. But then because I had to specialize in architecture, you move towards more technical drawings, you move towards just drawing streets and buildings and all of that. And then eventually when you do get into university and then work, it's just less and less drawing. There's very little conceptual stuff, very little stuff where you have to paint or like interpret things in a creative way. You just sort of have to draw the same thing, and it's very rigid, I suppose. Just that spirit. Oh, great, a story about a little ghost is what I'll do. Didn't try to attempt to take any other kind of meaning from it, I think. The idea, I suppose, well, when I was looking for competitions to enter, I suppose I looked at this theme and thought that's right up my alley because I really kind of enjoy horror stories. So I thought, hey, spirit ghost, that's perfect. That's something that will help me get started as it's something I'm interested in. Even though, I mean, the story isn't like, it's not horror, it's more of a little cute, PG-rated certainly story, but I just went with it. I've never done a comic before, but I've never also written a story at all before. So I thought that I'd have to do a lot of research about it, just figuring out how all of that works. I think, to be honest, like the preparation was the most interesting part. The preparation and then writing out the script and the storyboarding, organizing all of that. The first steps of it were the most enjoyable for me. I took out a few of my favorite stories, comic books, mangas, stuff like that, and just actually got a notebook, started writing down the structures of the story, how the pacing works, how fast everything happens, how much stuff you can fit into 1 page or 2 pages, how they organize all of that, how big each panel is, how much text can fit into it, I suppose, learning from others first and then trying to apply it to my own story. That was really, really kind of fun.
This was a story about the friendship between a lost soul and a little girl. The two would swap bodies and souls with each other and share their experiences whilst growing older together, side by side, until one day, of course, the girl passes into the afterlife and becomes a spirit herself. My initial notes on this entry were, wow, so well executed, exceptional art, great story that stays with you. Makes me emotional, has so much heart, I love the spirit of this entry. These were just my kind of fleeting notes. But as with all great manga, a story that is evocative, expressive, and moving is a testament to the artist's abilities. You'll see that upon closer examination of the work. The ghost is ever so expressive, yet it doesn't have any facial expressions, which was crazy. The art is gorgeously illustrated with lovely textures, lots of cross-hatching, yet still feels very simple and evocative. Simplicity is not easy to achieve, so I thought that was wonderful. The artist plays with layered perspective in a way that feels warm and cozy and I've never seen before, yet sets the mood for a tale that's kind of haunting. And every page, every frame is carefully thought out, paced, and polished, so that must be because she worked so hard at kind of studying manga. It's just amazing, extraordinary that this was your first try. All the hallmarks really of great manga. So the vote was unanimous as well amongst the judges, and that is rare. We normally battle, sometimes to the death, when it comes to first place, especially. And so that was that. And so a huge congratulations to you, Anait, and well deserved. Thank you for sharing your work with us, and please continue, because clearly you need a new career. Yeah.
Congratulations, Anait. Let's hear from Eddie at the gallery about her prize.
Before manga became the comic books we know today, the art form emerged during the Edo period through woodblock printing. Artists like Katsushika Hokusai produced manga as a collection of sketches, capturing everything from scenes of daily life to ghostly apparitions. Over time, manga evolved from simple illustrations to intricate stories and highly detailed artworks. Junji Ito is one of the most renowned manga artists working today, known for his meticulous line work and haunting imagery. His works push the boundaries of horror, turning the ordinary into something terrifying. The same balance of beauty and fear echoes in Full Metal Alchemist, where alchemy blends science with the supernatural. This poster highlights the series' signature mix of steampunk and dark fantasy, a reflection of how Japanese art has long explored the line between creation and destruction.
Manga, congratulations to all of you. I've read all the entries tonight and they're all wonderful. So many of them are quite inspiring actually. I was going to go home and start sketching some things after seeing a few of them. And keep working hard and thank you.